and let's shoot a full film with it.
I thought I understood it, but I didn't.
Because it's lightweight, you can put it anywhere. So small. 7D.
Only the idea of it, the view and me.
The TV cameras that were supposed to come to the country with the director, there was you know, when a catastrophe happened, the roads usually get messed up. You cannot deliver your stuff easily. So she had a DSLR from Canon as well, and she's like, okay, either I have a movie or I don't have a movie, right? So why not? So whoever has a DSLR, look, you can separate the subject from the background, which is super nice for documentaries. At the same time, you can have a subject and your foreground is out of focus. Do you see these flowers? They're gorgeously, they have depth for the scene itself. And at the same time, you can take it anywhere, like even if a place that has destroyed roads or whatever, and you can choose with a focus point that can help you out, which is really nice. And this movie also won a couple of awards. Now, almost same 2 years or 3 years, there is a movie called Act of Valor. This cinematographer, also for budget reasons, and have you seen it? So this movie done by 5Ds and 7Ds only. Yes. Now they have lighting and they have lenses and they have everything, but mainly it was shot 5Ds and 7Ds. And I'm talking 5D Mark II and 7D Mark I. So if you have a 7D Mark II and you're saying, oh, my camera is so bad, it's not the problem of the camera. I have bad news for you. So basically this movie, they were able to put, if you see the gentleman with the helmet, the military guy with the helmet, they were able to put the 5D next to his head, so they will have a point of view shot. At the same time, look at the guy in the puddle or in the water. They were able to put the camera at this level because they're not afraid. If they destroyed one, it's kind of fine. Plus, it's so small, so I can put it here. While a big cinema camera, you need to have this space just for the stand of it. So, with time, I will let you watch a part of the trailer. So they used actual military people, trained. It's just the story that is fiction. Please have a look. And yes, I swear this is 5D and 7D.
You don't expect your family to understand what you're doing. You just hope they'll accept it.
I'm so excited for you, man. You're gonna be a good dad.
And when you get home, you hope you can pick up right where you left off.
3, 2.
Does it look like a DSLR too?
All clear!
Target secure!
This is a personnel recovery. Proceed to target, recover the package, and move to extract. Got it.
So these are actual tactics that the American Army uses. They were able to put the camera on the gun itself.
Secure.
Usually that was almost impossible.
For all those who've been downrange, to us and those like us, damn few.
I have positive control of the Raven. We have enemy QRF approaching from the north.
This thing is way bigger than we thought it was. They're gonna hit us at home.
Hey boys, we gotta roll! Just for a minute.
So you understand the limitations of your camera. So I need to move or you want to finish it? Move. So now what happened when we upgraded to the cinema line, which is the C series? Now why did we jump? I started with, as I said, with smaller DSLRs. With time we started having some problems or difficulties. Like you can walk around it, but then at some point the difference in price between the 5D and a C100 or a C200 is not that much at some point. If it's gonna cause you headaches to repeat a shot or keep going. So basically these are some of the reasons that we started with. You have a better battery life, so you have cameras that can give you around 4 hours of battery continuously. You have proper screen over here, so you have a high resolution to do all of your work on it, focus and what's on. You have professional audio inputs. You have proper XLRs instead of putting a small audio recorder and the audio is really bad and all of these things. You can record more than 30 minutes. DSLRs are known that they can record only 29 minutes. And also there is good codec for post-production, focusing tools, exposure tools, and useful buttons. We will talk about it after. So let's talk about also why it's nice to have this type of stuff. So TV stations in most of countries now, they refuse sometimes to work with DSLR's footage because people who are using it are usually not using it as its best, with its limitations. So you will usually get very shaky footage, very overexposed footage, or very saturated footage, right? Or very dim footage. So the cool thing is when you mix between, let's say, cinema or video line and the DSLRs, you get the benefit of having, you can go to a TV station. Well, yes, part of my movie was shot on a DSLR. The other part was shot on a professional video camera. And then they will be more approving of buying your stuff because you know you're a professional. You will have less shaky and wobbly images because DSLRs are not made for quick pans, while cinema cameras are much better in that regard. And also you can record very good audio with the built-in in these cameras like this or the C300 or C200 because it has proper audio inputs. Now, and also the most important thing, usually with DSLRs, the biggest problem is you don't have anything in focus. You try to, because the screen is super tiny, you try to get someone and then his nose is in focus and his eye is not. Anyone has that problem before? The shot is completely ruined because something is out of focus. So this is why the cinema line is important. Now, let's start with, I will talk about the 5 types of new documentary. I'm not going to talk about the old way of doing 1.5 hour documentary. I'll talk about the TV shows and the online videos that you can do and make money out of it. And if you have any question for any of the videos, please let me know. Sounds good? Okay, so we start with classic documentary. It's not very classic. It's between classic and the new era of documentary. So I'll show you something. We spent around 7 months in the desert of in the Gulf, filming the last generation of Bedouins living there, like multiple families who actually own an oasis in the middle of the desert, which is fun. So we used to travel between a place to a place to film these people. So please have a look. Documenting the lifestyle of these people, and also we have interviews outside. This documentary, it's like around 3 seasons. Each one is 13 episodes. With each family, we had like a full-on episode. It won the best documentary in the region. Now these are just glimpses from it. Now what we've been doing actually is the following. So with each family member or the main, the biggest guy in the family, we do a full-on interview with 3 cameras to make it interesting. 1 moving camera and 2 on the sides. So it's not just the boring one shot. Usually most documentaries say, oh, it's just a documentary, so just put 1 camera and whatever, sometimes like this, and just like, yeah, just put him talking. It's not nice. Now, because you're used to much nicer images, so you want something nicer. So we do the interviews, and then we shoot other also interactions between their families. We shoot some weird stuff that we found. For example, this is a line of camels. I swear, I kept recording, and we were in a 4-wheel. We kept driving, and the line of camels is not finishing. I thought there is something, there is a déjà vu in my mind that it's not going on and on, it's not finishing. So again, we film also some parts of drama with some actors repeating. For example, he will tell us a story. Let's say he will say a story about him meeting someone or his car having an issue in the 80s, and then they found this celebrity. All of these things, we re-imitated it with proper actors. So while you're watching him talking, you are also watching what's happening. You are imagining on behalf of what he's saying, so it's much nicer. At the same time, we have some parts where they're doing traditional songs, so that will be nice for some areas that you want to preserve the cultural language, or when you want to preserve their songs, for example, the folklore. So other than that, we were filming them. Let's say we have some problems while we reach to some areas. The guys who rule that place, they said if you got stuck in the sand, only a helicopter can take you out, and they were 100% serious. They said even if your friends got stuck, keep going. We will call a helicopter. It will take an hour to arrive. They will pick up the car, and they will fly them back to wherever you come from. And so we have some cars that got stuck, and we have camera crew in each in vehicle. So we used to also film what happened during that. Oh, I have a flat tire in the middle of the Saudi desert or whatever, or we have an issue with this, so all of these things got documented. Now, let's talk about how this type, are you interested in this type of shows, to film something in the region that is similar? Because, for example, now we got acquired to shoot something, it might be in Sudan and Nuba, to cover up some singers that are actually very special in that area, to go on a tour to follow, like, let's say 30 singers, to archive it. So we will do the exact same thing. For example, first thing is, the most important thing in a documentary, which usually most people ignore, is the research. So you do the proper research. So we have the gentleman that you saw him holding the radio. That guy is a researcher. He's a writer as well. So he started doing research about the families, where they live, how they eat, all of these things. And we found books that are 60 years old or 50 years old about how this generation used to live. And we tried to imitate the same kind of atmosphere. And the funny thing is, like, let's say there is a well, the well for water. So in the picture, we made a well that is very similar to that picture. And then an old man came, and he was almost going to cry, because he said, this well was for my grandpa. How did you know that it looked like this? So he remembered it when he was a kid. But when he saw it, he was like, this is real. This is as real as it can get. Now, the second thing is, you decide the look of your documentary. So now you can watch a lot of documentaries online, and you can watch a lot of movies online, and you can discuss with your cinematographer, oh, I want this to look similar to this kind of thing, or similar to that kind of thing. I want it to be very moody and dark, or I want it to be very happy. As you saw, it's more like well lit and all of these things. So it's actually part of your preparation. Other than that, we start doing the interviews. So this is the easiest part, because you go to meet someone. Hello, how are you? This is your place. Let's make your place look nice. So we do an interview with you, and then we film what we call B-roll for your area. So we film the houses, we film the tents, we film the animals that are there, the way that you make fire or food or all of these things, and we put it we put it as parts on top of your talking. Now, if you have any story, as we discussed, if you mention a story, how the first time you entered the city, for example. So we reimagine that of one guy in an old car. Let's say we find a car, same model number that he was talking about, and we brought it and we put it next to the beginning of the city. And it makes the story a little bit nicer to watch. Now we have the general views, which I said, the shots with B-rolls. And then after that, we have a break for a month. We watch all the footage. We listen to all the interviews, and then we see what are the stories that are missing. Do we miss more shots of, let's say he was talking about a different mountain that we didn't have any shots of, so we go back and we shoot it. So that's why the documentaries sometimes take longer to establish. So this is the process I think you can imitate as well, to do a lot of types of this kind of genre of shooting. Okay, any questions related to this type of documentaries? Anyone wants to ask a question? To shoot? To shoot almost 7 months on and off. So sometimes maybe we'll go for 3 weeks and then we'll come back for a month for a relax, or 2 weeks, and then again we go for a week and so on for 7 months. Editing took, other than the 7 months while we're doing, another 3 months. Other questions? Anyone interested to do a similar type of show like this in the region here, or think that people might be interested? What type of subjects would you put instead of this? Can we get a mic for him?
Hi everyone, my name is Rahim Khan. I'm from Diani Beach. I'm a photographer and aspiring filmmaker as well. So basically where I come from, it's a dry region. So problems that the local communities are experiencing, such as droughts maybe.
Droughts, yes.
Yeah, they need education, they need maybe water. So you can like film what they actually do, how they live, to maybe try and empower them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds like a great idea.
Yes.
I'll tell you a story. For example, a friend of mine in Sudan, in some area in Sudan, he made this film with a small DSLR. He had a Canon small DSLR. As we said, like, oh, how big can the impact be from a small camera? So he shot it as best as he can. It was showing just how when they took the guns from that area, actually the atmosphere became better. Because when they took guns, people started like, oh, I need work, instead of just hustling to get something. And they started having actual jobs and stuff like this. And he just documented the families that left fighting and started working. He documented like 6 families doing that. And then the UNICEF helped these families even more, which is really nice as an effect. I believe even if you helped 6 families with a documentary, it's much nicer than making a full-on big 1.5-hour documentary without any impact, right? Any other ideas for people who want to do something similar here in the region? You wanted to mention?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nick Njashe. I'm a content producer. Actually, I'm working on one currently, and what we're doing is we are following someone from maybe a different tribe and placing them with a local community. And now we take the POV of this person to figure out what this community is like. So for example, we would take someone from a place like Kisumu and then take them to Samburu and then see through his eyes this new culture and how he gets to deal with it. And also we learn about the Samburu.
Yes.
So it's something that is we're already doing, yes.
It's great, it's great. Plus, with this, whether it's a 10 minutes documentary or 1 hour documentary, you can show the other area how we are all actually same thing. We're all same. We have the same desires, we have the same needs, we enjoy the same kind of things. So sooner or later, even if there is any differences between the areas, they are kind of disappearing, which is amazing to have that effect. It's a great job. Any questions related to this type of shoots? If you are looking for any type of, we're fine, we move on? We move on. So this is part of the stuff. This is my business partner. This is how we spent the stuff. These are the tents that sometimes we stay at. We have full crew with us, like not full crew, but we have around 3 lighting people and 1 assistant and 2 shooters with 3 cameras. So that was our main thing. We can all fit in kind of 1 Jeep in the way, so we're not like a huge, we need 6 trucks and whatever. So let me show you something else. That show led us to receive
تاريخية المنطقة التي ولد فيها أكسبته الكثير من العمق الفني. البيئة الشعرية عميقة ومتعددة جدا بحيث نهل منها في هذا الخصوص.
من هنا تشكلت هذه الشخصية التي زاوجت بين الأغنية التقليدية الإماراتية المحلية وبين هذا البعد الخليجي والبعد العربي.
هناك أمانة في عمق الفنان، يجب أن ينظر إلى الكلمة الجيدة مع اللحن الجيد، سواء كانت شعبية أو كانت بالفصحى أو كانت يعني الكلمة يجب أن تكون مدروسة، وهذه مهمة الفنان نفسه. فنأمل من الله إن شاء الله يوفقنا في طريقنا هذا الفني إن شاء الله.
كان لجهود الشيخ زايد أثر كبير في مسيرة جابر جاسم الغنائية والفنية.
يدرس الموسيقى العربية ويتعرف على شتى الألحان العربية والمقامات.
التجديد اللي طرأ على أسلوب جابر جاسم جاء بفضل ثقافته واحتكاكه بالمعهد العالي وسادة المعهد العالي.
بعد التعلم وبعد تقديم الكثير من المراحل أصبح أمل الشباب. الكلمات كانت مختلفة، كلمات جزلة سريعة مختصرة قوية مباشرة، فكان بكل معنى الكلمة يمثل ظاهرة مختلفة في تلك المرحلة.
وعشقي للبحر أكثر.
توظفت أنا في وزارة الإعلام في قسم الإذاعة فرقة موسيقية، فلقيت هذا العبقري صراحة الله يرحمه جابر جاسم. من ضمن الأشياء أنه كان متواضع جدا 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 الله يرحمه، طيب لأبعد الحدود، ما يبخل عليك بأي معلومة.
سيدي يا سيد سادتي سيد الصود المناير.
أي شريط جديد ينزل لجابر جاسم كان يعتبر يعني حدث كبير، لأن الناس ينتظرون أنه بيقدم فيه شيء جديد، بيقدم فيه ألحان جديدة.
فلجابر جاسم الفضل في خروج الأغنية الإماراتية من عباءة المحلية التي كانت فيها.
For a show for your TV station, do you think you can have something? Now, the good thing about these is you start looking for a singer that your country likes, for example, but there isn't much about him. Not the Instagram generation, find someone a little bit older. So if you couldn't find a lot of stock footage for this person or previous interviews, it's nice to start documenting his life while he's alive now, at least with an interview. So even if you have an idea for a documentary and you don't have the funding for it yet, go on, let that actor know, or singer, whatever, a celebrity, tell him, sir, we really like your work. Can you give us just half a day of your time? We would like to come to your place or a place we invite you to, and we make an interview. Now, before you go there, you need to have a presenter who knows a lot about the history of this actor or singer. Why? Because it's not nice to be in front of the singer and he's like, how did you start? There are usually articles about that singer. So the more you know about him, the more that he will get interested that you actually know, and he will start telling you amazing stories. Trust me, sometimes we might sit at someone's house for 7 hours and telling you amazing stories. Like, we wish we had more time on TV to put. But with this kind of way, you open a small door for a future documentary. So, for example, if this gentleman maybe he won't stay alive for a long time, or maybe he will become even more famous in 2 years or 5 years, and you have this amazing interview with him. So later on, when you have the funding for it, usually for some reason we start taking care of someone after he dies. I don't know why. He's like, oh, he died, let's make a documentary about him. Usually it's nicer to do it while he's alive, and then you continue when he's gone. Any question related to this type of shoots? Fine, we move on. Okay, so now we will talk about the more commercial kind of documentary reality TV show. So this is a show about girls who want to do plastic surgery. I know it's totally different than artistic stuff, but a lot of people are having that kind of thought nowadays in our generation. So basically what we do, we film the surgeries or the procedures. We have the opinions of health doctors, like real doctors, talking about what is going to be done. We have makeup session. We have the lady covered. She doesn't know how she looks like till she is in front of the mirror. This is the reveal day. And this is part of the revealing, which is basically like with music and slow motion and stuff. She sees the new version of her. Have you seen the show called The Swan before? Something similar. This show has been on for around 12 years. For some reason, plastic surgery is booming. So what we do as well, we have the main presenter, which is the host. She also takes these ladies through their journey. So we have different type of mirrors or revealing days. So she goes inside her, she's blindfolded, and she discovers all the stuff the changes that happen with her. Usually she's not allowed to see herself before. And we do full-on surgery shooting. You need to be fully wearing all the doctor's uniform. They need to do all the washing and the cleaning the equipment and whatever before you enter the surgery. And we enter the surgery, sometimes 4-hour surgery, just to get a montage of 1 minute that looks good. So all of these procedures, this is us shooting inside the mirror with the C300s. So are you interested to know how we shoot this type of shows? Or okay. So basically, we start with the archiving of the contestants. So they put an ad on social media or on the TV or on the website. Whoever wants to have these kind of, the opportunity to have these kind of changes. Some of them is not actually like what people think about plastic surgery. You have, for example, teeth. You have people who have injuries that, for example, had a huge cut on their faces and they're having problems going to work, right? Sometimes some girl has an accident for her nose and she was so shy to go show people her nose because it looks really bad. So with these, we have like a casting sessions for, let's say, 500, 700 contestants. So we need to shoot it, and we shoot, basically each lady has a number, a small number. So we keep shooting everybody. And later on, we start putting each person's file on its own, like even while you are waiting outside. You know how, let's say, the X Factor or all of these shows, there are people outside. So we do the interviews with them outside, and we do also some files with them, let's say laughing or crying outside or doing whatever, and then we add it to their profile. So after that, we get the medical timeline. The medical timeline comes from the doctors. So the doctors will tell you, for example, this procedures to go from here to here, we need 8 months. So first, it's not about production schedule, it's about the health of the human being, how much they need to recover, how much these, for example, you need 3 surgeries for your nose. So the first surgery will be, let's say, in March, then in May, then in June, and then you need 2 months for full recovery. So this is the type of stuff we do. After that, we do the interview with the person himself who wants to go for these procedures. So they start talking about their house, their family, that the problems that they had. Some people lost their husband or their wife because of some accidents or burns or whatever, or just lack self-esteem. And then we do also a little bit about their life. We bring a friend, talks about them as well. Oh, my friend, she was so nice, and then she had this car accident, and then this happened. I mean, you know, all these stories. So after that, we start putting a timeline for the sessions. This was actually produced by NBC, one of the biggest TV channels in the Middle East, and produced by High End Films. They did all the assessments for all the sessions. So basically, if you need 6 sessions for the skin, 12 sessions for the nose, and all of these things, we need to film it and we need to archive it. So with time, after 8 months, we have a full episode for this lady. Some episodes might need only 1 month because it's a very small procedure. Maybe it's just teeth, or maybe it's just like main skin issue, so we can fix it faster. And then we do what we call the reveal. Usually we shoot the before and after shot. So we shoot the before while we are doing the interview with the girl. We try to keep the same shots, whether it's photos or videos. Like, for example, it's this, or whatever part that she wants to change. So this is regarding the beauty show or anything similar to that. Anyone interested to know anything else? Do you have any questions, or should I move on? Good? So we go to the second type, which is very good for documentary filmmakers, and they always neglect, which is corporate videos. Now, companies usually, they want someone to talk about them. They want someone to tell their story, how they started. Like, it's always amazes me that you go to a factory and you meet the old man there, and he's just this little man or whatever, and he's so down to earth. And then he's like, yeah, you know, I started in the 80s, I had $2 in my pocket, and I went and I did this and this and this. This type of stories you